You can see that guard over there is hanging low. You can even see some deer here over there. So this is not going to be a fun video to make, but we hit a deer on the road with the Mustang. So we got to see what the damage is and how we can fix it. We're coming from a road trip, really nice windy roads. I was having fun, but when you got windy roads, you've got all these animals crossing, so you have to be careful. And well, I tried my best, but we had a deer. Good thing is that I was able to actually complete the road trip. I was able to get home safely. I was kind of worried that the damage might be extensive where I would not be able to drive home and I would have to call a tow truck in the middle of nowhere really. But let's check out what the damage is on the car. All right, so this is how she looks right now. You can see the front is pretty good, which is what I was extremely worried about. Now, luckily, when I hit the deer, it was already dead. So I knew there was gonna be a lot of deers where I was coming from, so I was trying to be careful. But this one was literally on the road, and I just miscalculated a little bit. The car's obviously lowered. I thought I would be able to get over him. I don't know why I thought I would be able to do that. And honestly, from a distance, it looked like it was not a deer. It was some other small animal, like a raccoon or something. So I can drive over it without a problem, but that was not the case. As I got closer and closer, I was like, okay, crap, this is a deer, and I would not be able to get over it, especially the car being lowered. So I tried my best to dodge it. I was also at a speed, so I don't want to maneuver too fast and lose control of the car. So it's just one of those things where it's a little too late to make a decision and you just kind of go over it, hoping everything is going to work out. But in this case, it kind of did and did not. So I'm glad that there's no damage to the front. As soon as it happened, I was like, oh crap. Mach 1 bumper swap, GT500 bumper swap, I don't know. So obviously I didn't want to have to deal with it, but I was like, if there is a bumper damage, I'm not going to replace it with a stock one. But there was damage to the underneath of the car. I'm going to try to show it to you how much damage really is. I also checked it at night, so it was really hard to see what the damage was. So I'm going to try to do it in the bright daylight now and see if we can spot a little bit more. My biggest worry was because the deer, I kind of ran over it with my tire. Part of it, like I was able to dodge it for the most part, but it went underneath the car. So my worry was that the deer had hit an oil pan or something, there's a leak, and I was still a couple hours out, so that would not have been a fun drive home. I would have to get a tow truck and all of that stuff. So let's go ahead, I'm gonna try to get you underneath the car. It's to see what the damage is. We're gonna try to clean it up a little bit too. Look at that, look at all that junk. All right, you might get a better view of this than I can, to be honest. You can see, I don't know, maybe if I get it from the front angle, it's easier to see. You can see that guard over there is hanging low. You can even see some deer here over there. I can see that there's a screw over there that's off, so I don't know if I just need to push it up or it's a little bit more than that. You can see there's 2 screws that are loose now. So I don't know if it damaged a little bit more than that, or we can get away just by pushing it against the body and it will be fine. Luckily, the biggest thing I was really afraid of is getting some damage on the car in terms of one of the pans being damaged, like oil pan or anything like that, and having a leak. That would not have been fun. So then what I'm gonna do before I fix that up, I wanna go ahead and clean the underneath of the car, because definitely last night I saw some remains of the deer, so I don't want to get in there, get my hands dirty with that. So I want to clean the underneath of the car. It sucks that the car is lowered. Once that is cleared up, I'm going to go take it to a car wash with their high pressure washer and just kind of clean that up, and then we'll try to attempt to fix that if I can even get underneath this car. I don't have a jack or anything, so if I can't really get a hold of it, then I'm actually just take it to a mechanic shop and just have them lift it up, which I think might be better anyways, because they can check if there's any other damage. The only visible damage to me is that guard shield, which obviously isn't that bad. I drove it a couple hours with it being hanging, but because the car is lowered, last thing I want to do is just get one more point for the car to kind of scrape. So I don't want something to get stuck and just completely rip it apart. So might as well, if it's just the screws hanging low, I want to kind of push it up and fix that. So let's take it to the car wash right now and clean the underneath of the car. I'm hoping one of these brushes can go underneath the car and then use some high pressure rinse to clean out the whatever was under there, and then we can try to attempt to fix the shield. So the high pressure washer should work, but it would be nice to get the brush underneath too. Obviously, you never want to use those brushes on the car because that is going to be really bad for the paint. But underneath the car, I think it's fine. So let's go ahead and try to do that. Alright, so I did it at the car wash as well, but I also decided to do it at home as well because you can get a little bit better angle. So I cleaned a lot of it out, and now maybe you can see a little bit better. You see that shield is hanging right there, so that's the one we're going to try to fix it. I'm going to let the car dry a little bit, and then we're going to go ahead and get some gloves and try to, hopefully it's just this screw. As you can see, I think this just needs to go back into its place. Same for here. As you can see right over there. So if it just goes back into its place, then we should be good. Otherwise, I'm going to take it to the shop and have investigate a little bit more. But you can actually put the car on the lift and really get an idea what's broken. Like I said, the car's driving fine. I get like a funny smell when it gets heated up a little bit. So I'm hoping that goes away. That's why I decided to use my pressure washer or my hose to basically wash underneath. Hopefully that will help, but let it dry a little bit and we're going to come back and try to attempt to fix that. So I had to take it to the shop because it's really difficult to get underneath the car because it's lowered and I don't have access to a jack. But they raised up the car on the lift, fixed the heat shield or the undercarriage protection shield. It had a couple screws that is slightly bent, but no real damage really. So I'm glad. That's one thing that's been preventing me from getting a front splitter too. I've been wanting one, but because the car is lowered, not even the animals on the road, but also just parking, I would always have to park in back in. I've been wanting a splitter to really get an aggressive look because right now I feel like it's a not too aggressive of a look on the front because I've got the rear GT500 spoiler, so I want something to match here. But that, if anything, that just gave me a reason not to get the splitter for now at least. But yeah, at least the car is fixed, no real damage. That's what I was worried about, like a front fascia damage or something like that. Just a screw that came out loose, slightly bent shield, but it's been put back in place. And the car is good to go now. Now, if you do have a lowered Mustang and you are running an aftermarket splitter, do comment below which splitter you're running because I'm kind of curious how the setup works when the car is lowered. Do you run into a lot of issues where you're constantly scraping your splitter, or is it actually fine running a front splitter with a lowered car? I hope you enjoyed today's video on the Mustang, and we'll get you more videos. I'm going to start doing more drag strip runs too, so we'll have footage of that as well. But yeah, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to see the build and some of those races as well.